two major contested bases on the map. Classic has been unable to touch the one to the south. Serral, I don't think has mined any there. I think he tried it at one point. It was taken out. There's 7 Void Rays out on the field. 14 Archons. They just keep multiplying. As more Templar enter loving yet lifelong and irrevocable relationships, the Archon count continues to grow, and the Lurker count doesn't seem to be high enough to dislodge it. Broodlords and Lurkers combined might be able to deal with that angry mass of overwhelming energy. The Templar are going to throw some water balloons at the Spine Crawlers. Not nearly enough, but the Tempest obliterating them clearly is. Nidus in the main. A few more charge lots. As Serral. Classic still had some buttons he hadn't pressed. Observer speed on the way. Gravitic boosters. Wait, is that right? Yes, gravitic boosters and gravitic drive. No, the infestors! Gets a fungal out of the way. Is there a parasitic bomb follow-up? Not quite, but a couple of the Archons get grabbed. Trying to target. The Broodlord's out in front. The Mothership just grinding through. And over the top of the infestors. And actually, Serral gets caught out. He loses a chunk of his infestors, already rebuilding them. But the Death Ball just kind of lumbering its way across the map with the Zerglings. Significantly faster. Does he have a recall? No, still 30 seconds out. The Probe's just getting ripped apart by the Adrenalings. To shreds, I say. The entire base is just dismantled in seconds by the hungry Zerglings. 25 Probes dead. Classic has barely more than he started with. He's going to work on the base to the north. And Infestor and like 12 Changelings. Infestor trying to pretend it was a Changeling there, but sometimes there are things we just can't be in life. The Zerglings still... Weren't there Ultras at some point? Whatever happened to the Ultras? He actually canceled them. I was so excited to see the Ultras. But Serral actively canceled them. He didn't even throw them away. They're not in production. They're not on the field. They're not in units lost. It's like they never existed. Ultras don't die when they're killed. They die the last time someone mentions that they get killed so easily you might as well not build them. Alright? That's when Ultras will truly die. 13 Archons. Filtering through a traffic jam of cannons. This Classic just again and again dragged back, and again it feels like Serral. Well, he has 10,000 gas. His army is 10.1, 8,700. So, but the Zerglings are breaking through. Classic has been entirely shoved back to his corner of the map. He has 12 probes, which does not make for a very healthy income. There are still minerals out there. Serral has mined 10k more, 7k more gas. He's actually lost 1,000 more gas, but 6,000 less minerals, which is kind of a crazy spread. 11 Void Rays. Ah, yes. Void Rays, the TV dinner of Protoss units. Well, the microwave dinner. All right, who has a TV nowadays? Shout out to those of you watching on TV. Sometimes have to wake up. It's not over yet. It's still game 2. And you haven't liked and subscribed. I know it's a real pain. I hope the ads aren't too annoying on TV. But, I'm sorry, I fell asleep in front of my own commentary train and got distracted. What was I saying? I'm sure it was profound and exciting and worth listening to. But I'm sure it was also concluded and didn't need speaking of. Void Rays, yes. The microwave, like, when you're a little too lazy to actually make something nice, and maybe a little too cheap to make something more healthy, you make Void Rays. And yes, comparing a TV dinner to anything Protoss who don't have mouths is kind of convoluted in the first place, but Void Rays, they shoot up, they shoot down, they're technically good against Corruptors, and they'll be absolutely dismantled by the Fungals, the Parasitic Bomb. I'm actually really surprised he built them at all. Usually it's better to just have a ground army. No carriers, but in the long run, carriers usually cost more than the game. Yes, Cletus and his friend, also Cletus the second, his brother cousin. Identical twin cousins. Don't ask how that works, they couldn't explain it to you. And if these lurkers knew how to read, they'd be very upset. Oracle, but only one of them. Oh no, Cletus! Remember me, Cletus. Ah! Oh, lasers. How do they work? Well, Serral has 18,000 minerals and still over 9,000 gas. He was attempting to long distance mine one of them. The Death Ball continues to, you know, ball. And so there are two ways this goes. Either Serral slowly but surely bleeds him out with acupuncture needles, or Serral makes one fatal mistake and the Death Ball just rolls through him. Because as most of us know, dealing with this sort of army, while Serral has made it look entirely plausible, can go sideways so incredibly fast you'll get whiplash looking back at your army after it's already died to Storm, and Archons, and Tempest, and Mothership. So, if Serral looks the wrong way for like 5 seconds... Okay, 5...
It's an old-school rivalry. Steelers, Bengals, tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Prime.
At Lowe's, help starts with action. When our communities need us, we do what it takes.
Seconds is way too long, like 2 seconds. He's got so much in the bank, I don't think that would be a total disaster. But it certainly would make this a lot more difficult. But so far, he's played pretty much perfect. Like, there's been a couple moments he lost a couple extra investors wandering in with changelings, but he's more than made up for it with some of the most, like, what are you doing? All those Void Rays looking so juicy. Throws out a fungal. Grabs one of the Archons. Not enough. Wombo combo fungal on the Void Rays. Gonna wipe out the shield just like that. And now you're wondering, why is my cholesterol so high? Because you keep microwaving TV dinner. Did you check the sodium count? You shouldn't. That will raise your blood pressure as well. And that's why you don't build Void Rays. Yes, this analogy is convoluted, but Classic's path to victory is becoming more and more so, as the Void Rays do less than nothing. They're a liability. The Void Rays are not the answer. If the question is, what unit is too expensive to serve the role you're trying to use it for, and takes up surprisingly much supply while giving very little in return against a competent player? Well, then that would be the correct answer for Void Rays, but Classic has too many of them. 14 is about 10 Void Rays too many. The legacy of the Voids will be one of mediocrity. He needs to do something else. Now, it's not my problem. I don't need to figure out what. Definitely not carriers. Okay. But the Void Rays are just a liability. He grabs the Archons, throws out some more fungals. The Void Rays are just melting. The Archons are taking them out, and then he drags them back into the Broodlords to be murdered. In Classic, he kills one Broodlord and one Zergling for the cost of 5 Void Rays and 4 Archons. I'm not a mathematician, but those numbers spell disaster for Classic. As he just slowly but surely bleeds out. His bank dissipating, as Serral somehow has more in the bank. Oracle goes down. 3 more Void Rays. Oh, like... Void Rays are like shoving your dishes in the sink, okay? You know you should just wash them now, that'll save your problems later, but now it just keeps adding up. You keep shoving dishes in the sink, and now suddenly you got a full sink, and you know the dishwasher isn't gonna get the job done. Okay, let's be honest with ourselves here. So, but you just keep shoving them in, and then suddenly in your sink, boom, 10 Void Rays. How did they get there? I don't know, you just kept building them. You didn't think about it. You knew it was a mistake at the time, yet you kept building the Void Rays. This isn't 4v4, and even in 4v4, I doubt it would be the composition to go for. 12 Void Rays, 10 Archons. More Tempests? We build too many Tempests, and it becomes a liability to the Corruptors. But I feel like more Tempests and more Templar would be better than the Void Rays. Takes out one of the Infestors. All he needs is one good fight. Feels like he does have Flux Veins. Everyone's maxed out across the board on upgrades. Void Ray is the Rose Art of Protoss Stargate units. Alright, for those who don't know, Rose Art is the type of crayons that parents gave to the children they didn't love. Okay. The Mega Blocks. Void Rays over here like the gold-plated audio cables of Protoss. Alright, might be shiny. It sounds like a good idea, but does it actually do anything? It makes you feel rich, because you spent so much on these audio cables, you spent so much on these Void Rays, and now you can't afford anything else. That's not exactly true yet, but it feels like we're getting there, as the inevitable tide of Serral just continues to stream in. More and more of the base is being dismantled, and at no point has the momentum shifted back. We're getting into Fist of Neeb territory, with near 200 army supply. One Ultralisk! Brutus. This ain't it from Classic. I mean, he still has, I keep saying it, but he still has the army that could win the game in a single fight. But Serral has managed to be so unfathomable, just impossibly cost-effective. Yes, I turned away from saying unfathomably because I can't reliably pronounce that word with my, because it's too fancy for me. But when you want to pretend to be fancy, but you can't actually afford it, and you think it's going to be fancy, you build Void Rays. All right, Void Rays, the supreme of Stargate units. The Rolls Royce. I don't know, is Rolls Royce like an actual rich people thing? See, I don't know. I don't have enough likes and subscribes to know the answer to that. Okay. The Broodlords starting to siege up the natural itself. And I guess at this point I do have to remind you that... Wait, are there minerals here? Serral is now expanding to Classic's front. Brutus and his gang of Zerglings. Well, this feels like that Ultra is not That too, Brutus. Oh, that doesn't really work either. Just like Void Rays. 16 Void Rays. Timu brand Protoss. So either this is going to have... all signs point to Serral eventually just bleeding him out. But again, if the infestors wander a little too far forward... God, this is so... It's like the fungals, the neural parasite, he grabs the Archon's feedback's a bit late. Broodlord moving forward. Tempest will knock out a few of these, but then he throws it in. And Parasitic Bomb doesn't quite line it up. Gonna take out some of it. The Zerglings are ripping through the entire main base. Maximum damage Parasitic Bomb will do permanent hull damage to the Tempest. And how's he going to rebuild them without any Stargates? The entire main, the Templar Archives. He's going to burrow in the corners. Might be able to take out the Candidate Burrow. Trying to split to deal with potential revelations. But the Broodlords are headed south. Maybe the Void Ray should be down there. A recall. At least not recalling to the Nexus that's about to be taken down. But Serral, just... he's mining not only from the contested base, but I never thought Serral would actually be taking classic center base, but here we are. The gas has been gone for quite a while. He long distance mined out another extractor to the north. Serral has mined 7,000 more gas. He's lost 6,000 less minerals and 2,000 less gas. He still has 17. He could pay for most of the rest of the next game at this point. His army, 10.9 thousand minerals and 8,800 gas. Classic is... yeah, look at you, just sitting there. The Cybertruck of Protoss. Okay, not only is it not very effective at what it's supposed to do, but it's also just embarrassing to own. Just one of them, let alone this many. Alright, another couple Archons will be kidnapped and killed. Held down, and just melted. The Broodlings, right? The Zerglings, of course. Hi, this is... it's like... this is like David versus Goliath if David was a swarm of 100 angry bees.
Choose debit or pay later. One card, two ways to pay. Sign up with Klarna. No credit impact to apply.
Spectrum definitely had our pocketbook top of mind. The faster that we could get them in here and installed and all of our systems up and running was the faster that we could open our business and start generating revenue. And Spectrum was a huge part of that.
Revitalize with Pure Leaf, powered by natural caffeine from real tea leaves. Time for Pure Leaf.
Well, another couple fungals. What? Did you say fun gals? Hey, I'm a fun gal, Brenda. Not now. It's too late for this. I've been doing nothing most of the game. We've just been sitting here creeping for like 34 minutes. I want to do something. Okay, well, I don't know. Transfuse a Broodlord. I'm gonna go back to creeping, alright? This is not very inspirational. Fine. Well, couple Templar. I want to see a Neural Parasite on the Templar. Broodlords. Some of them getting obliterated, but Serral with that beautiful spread. The Void Rays. Now's your time. Oh my, the Wombo combo. The beautiful, beautiful setup. The Spore Cores to zone it out. The Tempest just melting. The Void Rays as well. The Corruptor's kiting back. And Serral is just... this is bullying him. It's another fungal. Classic. Trying to chase him down. But Serral dips slightly into his emergency fund here. Really more like his savings. And pulls out another 12 Corruptors, 3 Vipers, 4 Broodlords, and still has thousands in the bank. Classic does not have any Stargates, so he's back to building Stalkers. I feel like Stalkers may have been the choice a while ago. Something. Anything. Besides Void Race. Which he still has 11. Serral is what? This gas can be Serral is mining from this gas. How? This is ridiculous. You see, I did it. I transfused the brood. Are you happy? I was happy before. I was happy before. That was fine. Well, you should be happier now. Okay, fun place. Fun gal! Sorry. It's been a long game. And we're just getting started. As at this rate, Classic has another half hour left in him. This, of all the games I've ever seen, game 1 was Serral just comprehensively dismantling Classic. And now game 2 is Serral emotionally just dives on top. Finally, the Parasitic Bomb with everything. The Corruptor count absolutely overwhelming. And Classic down to 20 supply. The Archons are grabbed to obliterate the probes, dragged into the Broodlords. Classic warps in 1 Stalker. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to turn it around. Classic is at 16 supply, and Serral says let him cook. What are we cooking? 16 broodlords. An entire feudal society of lords is on the way. Serral will have 2 broodlords to every stalker. He is mining from 2 to 3 of the bases that Classic really should have owned. And, the Blinks in with the stalkers, types out the G's. Serral. Wow. 160,000 resources later. 30 Archons, 21 Void Rays, 22 Tempests, 1 Ultralisk. We're just throwing some of the numbers out there. Wow. I didn't think he could get more, dominant than game number 1, but I'm excited to say he did. As that. Yeah. Now imagine having to play more after that. Classic is going to need to completely turn this car around. This is not the Serral beating version of Classic that we've seen. Serral clearly has his number, and is continually calling him so often that he can't remember how to play Protoss, apparently. He's continually distracted. It felt like he tried almost nothing and he ran out of ideas. He just couldn't get anywhere. And then by the time he finally built up the army, Serral had a better one. The Broodlord Infestor, just a comprehensive beatdown that feels somewhat inappropriate to be showing here, but hopefully we don't get demonetized. Game 3, Torches. And in flames, just like Classic's chances of taking this series. That was not close. More one-sided than a Mobius strip by the end. Serral sending the drone out, and gets blocked. Almost quick enough to get the hatch, but he was 1 trip off on the minerals. Gonna be forced into the 3rd base, which is a moderate inconvenience. Zergs are used to it at this point. Really, the only bases you're allowed to take are your 3rd or their naturally, if they're intent on it. But it is still bothersome. I have no idea. Well, he's got to try something. And as long as it's not Glaive Adepts, okay? Glaive Adepts are almost the Hellbats of Protoss, but have a much higher win rate, all right? Even Serral gets regularly caught off guard by Glaive Adepts. But it's definitely one of those, like, I'll just whip this out and put it out there and see what happens. Like, 40% of the time it works every time kind of builds. Much higher on the ladder, and that's why people hate Protoss. And of course, we mean after the Stargate. As we all know, the Stargate is obligatory. Not getting a Stargate is a cheese in of itself. Like, nobody just goes Twilight. The Oracle plus Energy Recharge is simply too good. All right? If you don't build one, you are giving up so much scouting, defense, just basic map control. It is more than worth it. Even though the Oracle costs as much as the Stargate itself, it more than pays off on a regular basis. Serral has seemingly found the timings to kind of negate those advantages with those early Zergling rushes that, in a past lifetime, just an hour ago, when we first saw this. Wait, more than an hour, the first one. Oh, it's all blending together. It's only been 2 games. Speaking of Zerglings, though, 2 of them get in. Probes, boxing out. Oh my, wait. They're still going. The Oracle just standing there saying, well, this isn't my job. You're not my supervisor. Technically, though. Probes handle it with a citizen's arrest. Another clutch of Zerglings headed across. First, Oracle. Interestingly, Classic not using the energy recharge on it. The Zerglings actually finding an okay kind of surface area. 2 of them nibbling on the Adept. Tries to micro away. Going to kill the Adept. Oracle lights up. Going to kill off a couple. Two more guesses behind, indicating a Twilight Council is in the near future. But will it be before the 3rd? Ah, mines through the mineral wall in order to open up the 3rd base and fighting the Queen. Oh, well, that's just... Queen is assassinated by 2 Oracles. And for the first time, it appears both Oracles will get out. A running trend has been Serral sniping off the Oracles. Really something that should not happen almost ever, yet has been consistent throughout the series. But for once, the Queens are struck down and Classic strikes back. Losing even 1 Queen this early on can really spiral. I'm grasping at straws here. My commentary's spiraling. I feel like I lost a few dozen brain cells, and I have precious few left. But, on that last game. It happens to the best of us. Classic, one of the best Protoss players in the world, but sometimes you get so locked into a composition, he clearly got tilted. And sometimes it feels like you can't do anything else. You're just doing this, and either it works, or it doesn't, but whatever. Okay, like, I'm already so far behind, I'll just keep building Void Rays. I feel like Admit it. Admit it, Protoss players, or even non-Protoss who play Protoss in team games. You've done the exact same thing. It looks dumb when Classic does it, and it looks dumb when you do... No. No, 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 no. This is restricted layer space. Okay, you can't be... But it's... Well... Shit. 6 drones dead. The Adepts actually get in. Pick off another. The Oracle is up against the air blocker, like the Temple or whatever we got going on here. And actually will survive, mostly because I think the Queens forgot about it. But the Templar Archives at the back. More Queens down the front. Spire is on the way. It looks like Serral going to try Mutas. A bold move, but definitely one that can take advantage of this map in the relatively close air distance. The Zerg Rock's going to be helped along by the Stalkers. Ooh. Queen's holding. It's Ravager Ling, and with the Spire on the way, Serral was trying to bank up money. I kind of wasn't respecting the danger of this attack pose, but +1 done. Serral has to tread a fine line between building units to defend this and actually doing so, well, actually being able to build mutas. Classic backs off. Storm is already on the way. There's 6 mutas in the bank. A stasis in the main. Oh, he nailed the timing! If nothing else, I've never seen anyone actually able to nail the timing so perfectly. He chained the stasis. That one Oracle that survived comes back and is a massive thorn in Serral's side. He can't actually move his spore. He has to go all the way around because of the stasis, and the Oracle's gotta get out. He's gotta get away with it. You know what? Serral's been dominating so hard, I'm actually rooting for Classic now for the sake of the series, because, wow. Are you admitting that you were rooting for Serral before? I should not speak. If I speak, I will be in big trouble, and I don't want to be in big trouble. I should not speak. Yes, no, totally right. The Mutas flapping across. Classic with no idea this was coming. No cannons. Has to warp in some Stalkers and a bit of a panic to defend, but just gonna go in for the kill. The Warp Prism out ahead. The Storm's on top of the Roaches and Lings across the entire board. The Templar still one more Storm ready. The Warp Prism can warp in. The Ravager throws up a Corrosive Bow. Not enough to knock it down, though the Stalker count might be too high. More Roaches on the way. The Mutas eviscerating the probes. The economy going to be good on both sides. The Warp Prism survives. 1 Corrosive Bow away. A couple Mini Needles, but that's it. Classic just wins. Was Serral out of it? I mean, there's a dozen Roaches ready to reinforce. And... no, there's Stalkers back at home to defend. Another Warp in. He didn't kill it. No, Serral was about to take game-ending damage. Oh, the gold base is up. Yeah, he's super dead. This isn't clever, right? Classic strikes back. And finally, is contested. Serral trying the mutas didn't work out. Not a big heartbreaker there for Serral on one of the toughest maps for Zerg versus Protoss. Very simply, it's almost impossible to pressure the Protoss bases directly. That's part of why Serral chose mutas. And now that Classic has more economy with a better unit composition, it doesn't get any easier from there. So, a tough loss, but one you could easily shake off, I think. And maybe a confidence booster for Classic. All right, needed something to turn it around. Again, can't read into it too much, but those Protoss players could read. They'd be very upset. Persephone. Classic is on the board. Not going to be a clean sweep for the finisher. And you know what? We made it this far. I don't usually do this sort of cross-pollination, cross-promotion. Mostly because I forget, not because I don't want to. But you made it this far. You're a little committed, or you're asleep. Either way, first, like and subscribe. And 2, if you haven't yet checked out the second channel, Winter Gaming TV, for pretty much everything else, including me streaming Starcraft 2. But also a lot of other strategy games. I mean, still Starcraft 2 is who I come home to every day. But it's good to explore your horizons. And recently, been doing a lot of Beyond All Reason. The free-to-play, volunteer-made, Total Annihilation-inspired massive-scale RTS. We're talking 10,000 units. And not just through the course of the game, at one time. If you haven't yet checked it out. And I mentioned because if you're watching this in the first week, next week will be the 50k Discord member event. There'll be 100 players or more in the lobbies for Beyond All Reason. So if you haven't yet got into the game, next Saturday and Sunday. And if you're watching this when I have 10 million subscribers on both channels, I know, crazy, but in the future, well, the 1 million Discord event I'm sure is going on. And somehow we're going to fit 1,000 players in. But now is a great time to get into it if you haven't yet. And also some other games I'm looking forward to, on top of Starcraft, of course. But let's be honest here, Starcraft hasn't had a whole bunch of big updates that are worth noting, outside of a few tweaks that made people angry in general and been widely regarded as a bad move, even if it make the game balance. Moving on. But the Scouring, Warcraft 2, Remastered, not officially, but when you see it. Era 1, Homeworld 3. Like, didn't Homeworld 3 come out? What if you took Homeworld 3 and Elite Dangerous? Okay. And Cosmeteer. If you know that game, well, you definitely need to check out Era 1, 100%. Darfall, Warcraft 3, but they are billions. All these you can find on the second channel if you haven't yet subscribed over there. Though I would hope it comes up in recommended. But I've been putting some... It's not really extra work at this point. Kind of balance it out. There are only so many hours in the day. Unfortunately. And we spent an entire one on that Void Ray game. But, what I'm saying is, hopefully, it makes your day a little bit better, and maybe a little more of your days a little bit better. And if you're wondering why there aren't videos every day on this channel, so here's what I've worked out. The best format. 6 to 7 hours of content a week. That's what you can expect. If I go over that, it seems like YouTube doesn't show off the videos as much to people. It's pretty noticeable. So the idea is putting out a certain amount of content every week. with clickbait, not clickbait, but partially just oversaturating is bad. Just like having too many workers on minerals, or too few. You want to have just the right amount, which is 16 to 20. All right, 16 is the perfect number, but I do want to say, one of my pet peeves is that it turns red after 16 instead of yellow. So many noobs seeing that it turns red saying, oh, well, I can't mine anymore, red is bad. No, you get more mining efficiency up to 24 workers. Okay, because each patch has 2 workers on it efficiently, but a 3rd worker can take a look and step in occasionally and be more efficient. So usually you can go up to about 20 workers before losing a lot of efficiency. The pros will almost never do that because they're faster, better, harder, stronger. But do not long distance mine with your workers until you have at least 20 on the base. All right, please stop. We haven't done too much Angry Coach lately, but please stop it. And if you were to see Angry Coach, it would probably be on the 2nd channel. Winter Gaming TV, have I mentioned it? We brought it back around, a recall back if you would, but the Oracles so far, Serral lost 3 drones. There's been a lot of poking and prodding, but the Oracles have not ended up being the critical damage. They haven't set Serral into an awkward position where he's forced to all in. But Classic has ground out a bit of map control for himself. He's going to have Blink +1 on the way. All the fixins coming together. Something about that game just broke me. That late line game. Just obviously something broke Classic as well. But it seems like he's recovered. I may never. Templar Archives coming up. This time around, Serral, for the first time in the series, I believe, with a Baneling Nest. And with a whole bunch of Zerglings on the way, he's already got 70 drones. He somehow manages to do that almost no matter what. I don't know how. 6 minutes in, 7 drones, 70 drones, and has enough to do a big Ling Bane attack. In fact, I think that's the plan. Who doesn't know Hydra Bane? I keep doing this. I keep saying, oh, he's going all in. And I just said he had 70 drones. That's not all in. He has 4 bases. He has enough economy to do almost whatever he wants at this stage. He's going to crush the Blink Stalkers and try to turn that into a game-winning... Stop saying that. Get an advantage. Get an incremental advantage, compounding interest over time. All right? Buy today. Winter Coin. Blink Stalkers, but they're walking into an already dangerous amount of Zerglings. Dozens more on the way. The Queen's getting involved. Not again. Serral has managed to crush these Stalkers in multiple games so far. He's waiting with the Overseer, I think, to delay Storm. He has yet to succeed, but the Overseer will... I don't think it's going to have enough energy quite in time to contaminate and delay Storm. But we'll see. Oracles light up. Not in time to save the 4th Nexus from being ripped apart by the Zergling. Now Storm's on the way. Chrono boosting it. The Overseer sitting there. Gimme, edit that out. 6 Overlords. Drop Overlords on the way. He does have Overlord speed, Serral. Clearly intending on some alternative tactics. Banelings? Maybe Baneling drop? Potentially, but Classic just moving directly across the map. He's got some Templar with Storm, but here comes Serral. The Storm's on the Zerglings, but he floods in anyways. On top of the Templar, and just completely crushes the army. Where's Charge? He doesn't have Charge for his Zealots. They're just slowly trundling up. It's a disaster for Classic. You're just gonna blink out of this. Blinks all the way down. Kinda just a real bitch move out of Classic, to be honest, but... What a disaster piece. He was able to turn it around just a bit, but this game has again tilted right back towards Serral. And the Banelings rolling 8 probes dead, so it's a 50 supply. This will not be a 55-minute game. This will not be an exercise in frustration, a mental victory, a smothering of the Protoss. This will be a direct and utter beatdown. All right, here comes Serral. Another couple Banelings rolling in from both sides. Still manages to kill more probes. More Banelings rolling in. Stasis hits a few Zerglings. Not going to be enough. Templar. Storms. Not enough for the Banes. Has to use them on the rest. The Hydras. Still a good concave. Not enough energy on the Templar. Not enough anything out in front. Charge will not finish. The Archons will not complete. And Classic will not win this series. Serral with a decisive 3-1 victory. I mean, he hasn't typed the G's yet, but... That Stasis not quite in position. 100 supply deficit. We're just watching the death animation. Would you die already? Serral, I don't think he'll let this one sit back. There's no reason to. Just crush the 4th base again and again. The Templar are desperate. He knows, but he's got to try. GG! Serral completes the series 3-1. A decisive victory to cap it off after some much more comprehensive ones. Some much more arduous ones. Well, definitely a demonstration here today. Serral showing how to absolutely... I feel like that game 1, the way Serral just manipulated Classic into position and pulled him apart, kind of set the tone. Classic did not want to get caught out in game 2. And he didn't. He never did. He just slowly died instead, which was more sad and painful and mentally taxing, but had the same result. Serral, 3-1. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you to Pig, as always, for putting on these incredible tournaments. Make sure to check them out. And the 2nd channel if you got a chance while you're down there. And if you got the means of motivation, we also can check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Thank you to our Mule Tier patrons. Don't forget, Big Jiggy Devin, Door, Kate, Mario, Random Guy, and Sue. And everyone, glad you still enjoy. I hope I made your day a little bit better. And I hope to see you next time. Make sure to go check out that Serral vs. Classic series from DreamHack Dallas. It's even longer than this one. And I'd argue a bit more action-packed. But I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun. Don't build void rays. Stay chill.
Hey, sorry I'm late. I was getting the cake.
This Adam is on WhatsApp.
Everyone here?
Yep, everyone